Support for today's episode comes from Amazon. Amazon is working toward a carbon free energy future, doing more with less, investing where it matters most, and supporting communities where we operate. South Korea bets $648 billion on AI data center buildout. South Korea is betting $648 billion on AI infrastructure. Nobody has ordered yet. South Korea's government has committed to an 18.4 gigawatt AI data center buildout, backed by discounted electricity, streamlined land and water rights, and a nationwide transmission upgrade, before demand at that scale has been confirmed by any customer. South Korea's government announced on June 29th what it is calling the data center pillar of a national triple-axis megaproject spanning chips, physical AI, and data centers. The first phase targets 8.4 gigawatts of AI data center capacity by 2029, split among SK Group 5 gigawatts, GS Group 2.4 gigawatts, and Naver 1 gigawatt, backed by roughly 550 trillion won, about $356 billion, in combined public and private investment. A second phase, running through 2035, would add another 10 gigawatts, bringing the total to 18.4 gigawatts and total investment past 1,000 trillion won, roughly $648 billion, one of the largest sovereign AI compute pledges announced by any government to date. The power commitment behind the number. Unlike a company announcing a data center campus and then negotiating grid access afterward, South Korea's plan puts the power build-out inside the same package as the capacity target. The government has committed to securing 100 gigawatts of renewable capacity by 2030, expanding use of nuclear power and small modular reactors, strengthening transmission lines, adding underground transmission in dense urban areas, and building additional grid stabilization facilities. That sequencing mirrors the broader shift toward treating grid capacity as industrial strategy rather than a constraint negotiated project by project, with South Korean manufacturers like HD Hyundai Electric and LS Electric already positioned as major global suppliers of the transformers that build-out will require. Incentives are part of the package, not a replacement for it. The government is also offering discounted electricity rates and streamlined land and water rights to the companies building under the mega project, alongside a deliberate push to site facilities in Chungcheong, Ulsan, Donghae, and Sejong, rather than concentrating further growth around Seoul. That regional dispersion carries its own friction. The wider triple-axis plan has drawn opposition criticism that chip fab siting decisions favor the political base of President Lee Jae-myung's Honam region, a dispute that shares the same political environment as the data center pillar, even though the data center siting itself has not drawn the identical critique. A decade-long pledge is not the same as deployed capacity. As with any national infrastructure commitment stretched across a decade, the gap between announced target and built gigawatt is the open question, not the ambition itself. Renewable build-out pipelines elsewhere in Asia have already shown how much of an announced capacity target can be at risk, from financing, permitting, and execution delays well after the political commitment is made. South Korea's own conglomerates are hedging in ways that complicate a purely domestic reading of the plan. SK Group's chairman said in June that SK Hynix could expand memory fabrication capacity overseas, including in Japan, if the necessary power, water, land, and talent are not in place domestically on the timeline the company needs. A direct acknowledgement that government ambition alone does not guarantee where capacity actually gets built. July brought evidence of both the pressure driving the build-out and the strain it is already creating. Additionally, SK Hynix's chief executive announced the company is pulling forward completion of a fourth fab at its Yongin semiconductor cluster from 2045 to 2033, a 12-year acceleration, alongside a separate 100 trillion won commitment to a new Chungcheong facility, bringing SK Group's combined semiconductor and data center commitment to roughly 2,100 trillion won. On July 14th, the government raised its 2026 GDP growth forecast to 3.0%, the highest in 5 years, crediting a semiconductor export surge tied directly to the AI build-out. That same surge is straining supply. Industry analysts warned in mid-July that AI memory demand fulfillment could fall to as low as 60% by 2027, even after the accelerated fab timelines, underscoring that the constraint on South Korea's plan may end up being global memory chip supply rather than the power and land commitments the government has already made. What this means for companies watching the build-out. South Korea's approach shows a government treating power, land, water rights, and capital as a single coordinated offer rather than separate negotiations, the same logic driving similar sovereign-backed pushes in the Gulf. Whether that coordination survives contact with actual construction timelines is a different question than whether the ambition is real. Capital increasingly rewards projects with credible paths to sustained utilization over projects with the most impressive headline figures. And South Korea's 18.4 gigawatt target will be tested against exactly that standard over the next decade, phase by phase, rather than validated by the June 29th announcement itself. Sustainability Soundbites energy coverage is sponsored by Amazon. Visit the link in our show notes to learn more about Amazon's spotlight on energy. For sponsorship opportunities with Environment and Energy Leader, please reach out to a member of our team.